To bring conference greetings from the Office of the Prime Minister of Slovenia, we have the State Secretary for Public Health Care and Public Health in the Office of the Prime Minister. Please welcome Dr. Metka Paragi.
Dear participants of the International Cannabis Business Conference, esteemed organizers, it has been a year since I greeted you at this leading global business conference of the cannabis industry. I am sincerely pleased to once again greet you on behalf of the Office of Prime Minister, Dr. Robert Golob, and extend a warm welcome to you all. Last year, I promised changes in the field of cannabis legislation here in Slovenia, and I am proud to say that in the past year, we have made significant strides towards a more modern European cannabis regulation, something that was not possible in the last decade due to various reasons and interests. Of course, it is also a result of developments in our country as well as in Europe and in the world. After decades of rejection, Europe has fully restored cannabis's legal status as a medicine this year, with the historic inclusion of the cannabis flower and cannabidiol in the European Pharmacopoeia. At home, numerous organizations, Cancer Patients Association, Europa Dona, many other patients, as well as the informed public and medical professionals, have increasingly been calling for the regulation of cannabis for medical purposes. Medical cannabis use is a topic that is gaining more attention worldwide, as cannabis represents a real supportive medicine for many people facing conditions such as chronic pain, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, and the side effects of chemotherapy. Why would we deny patients and scientific community access to a resource that could improve the lives of many? By fully regulating the use of cannabis for medical purposes, we will provide Slovenian patients with easier, safer, and more accessible paths to this form of therapy. Currently, due to the ban of cannabis cultivation, we are dependent on importing these products, which limits access to treatment and raises costs. However, since cannabis is still highly criminalized here in Slovenia, and the fact that there are numerous, often conflicting expert and non-expert opinions about its use, we decided to ask Slovenians about their views on this issue through the use of referendum. As you may know, in June of this year, we voted in referendum on two questions: the cultivation and processing of cannabis for medical purposes, and cultivation and possession for personal use. Voters approved the cultivation and processing of cannabis for medical purposes with 66.5% of the vote. The results of the vote on personal use were closer, with 51.5% voters voting in favor. Based on the will of voters, we immediately began working with the Parliament members and esteemed experts to draft a modern European outline for legislation on these two issues. We established a group of experts from the fields of medicine, pharmacy, biotechnology, legal sciences, with the goal for ensuring multidisciplinary approach to resolving cannabis-related issues and ensuring that the new legislation is professionally prepared, consistent, and aligned with the latest findings, both domestic and foreign experts. In the legislative approach, we will follow the examples of EU member states that have already made the necessary changes in their legislation. Slovenia's current legislation does, at least in theory, allow the use of cannabis products for medical purposes, but this has never truly come to fruition. In practice, this is evident through its very limited scope and numerous obstacles. Among other things, the position of Agency for Medicinal Products and Medical Devices also poses a problem, as it claims that the use of cannabis for medical purposes is permitted in accordance with Medicine Act, Pharmacy Practice Act, as well as regulations, which is correct. However, agency argues that due to the lack of prescription guidelines, except for terminally ill patients, the prescription of cannabinoids for other medical conditions is not permissible. In our opinion, this stance is incorrect, as there are extensive prescription guidelines prepared by countries with comparable levels of health care. For instance, Netherlands, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and so on. Here, I must also emphasize the past unjust disregard for professional guidelines prepared by the pioneer of cannabis treatment in Slovenia, oncologist Dr. Josipina Červek. With the updated legal regulation, we will also accelerate scientific research in this field. Slovenian research institutes have immense potential, which we are not utilizing enough. Instead of strengthening domestic science and developing innovative medical approaches, we are dependent on imported products, which are not only a missed opportunity, but also hinders progress in scientific understanding of the risks and benefits of cannabinoids. It is a fact that cannabis use was never so successfully prevented by prohibition. Rather, the opposite is true. Therefore, we must appropriately adapt our legislation in a more sensible and pragmatic way. With appropriate legal regulation, we can better protect patients from the black market and educate young people about its use. The new legislation must therefore comprehensively regulate the field of medical cannabis from cultivation, processing, possession, and distribution to prescribing methods, as well as define the limits of using cannabis for personal use. As far as personal cannabis is concerned, the experience of other countries clearly shows that sensible regulation is crucial. Instead of risking the consequences of unregulated market, which is often associated with illegal activities and dangerous products, legalization would reduce health risk and, most importantly, more efficiently protect young people. With full responsibility, we are fulfilling our promise and preparing a new modern legislation in line with other developed European countries, which will allow our citizens to legally access safe and professionally supported cannabis products for their health and personal well-being. Thank you.